All right. Okay, Autumn, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you were there before we start. I'm just hopping on YouTube before.
Shoot, I muted you, Kelsey.
Oh.
Okay, I muted
okay.
you. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure everything's good to go online. All right, so let's see here. So I'm streaming it onto YouTube as well, but I'm trying a different method. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, yeah, all right, it's working. Okay, we're good to go. All right, well, welcome to tonight's call. Tonight we're going to be talking about failing forward, and we're going to actually share some of our own experiences. And what happened here? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Weird. Okay, it's just not showing up. Okay, all right. We're going to be sharing our experiences, some of the things that we've tried to do, and maybe have, fallen face first as leaders or as business owners, and what we had to do to come out of that funk, or the things we've learned from it, and how it's actually helped our businesses grow and has helped our coaches grow in the past. So we're going to kind of dive into that, and we're going to share those stories, and then we will let you ask questions and dive into any of the things that you're wondering, or if you have something you want to share that you've learned and it's helped your team, or that you think will help your team once you have a team, you'll have a chance to talk about that. So Autumn, do you have anything to say before I dive into my first experience?
No, you can go for it. Are we still streaming this over
YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up and running. All right. Okay, so I'm actually going to start off by sharing my challenge group fails. And the reason I'm starting there is because as new coaches, that's one of the first things you're doing, right? You're going to hit Success Club, you're going to get a couple challengers, you're going to dive into challenge groups. And it's one of those things that as a challenger, you're in there and you think, okay, well, my coach is doing this and this, and it's going really good. But as a challenger, you might not notice that everyone's not posting, or you might not notice some of the background stuff. And then you become a coach and you're doing all this work, and you might be like, wow, no one's participating, nothing's happening, or none of my challengers want to become coaches. How come? And I ran into that several times. So I'm going to start way back from the start. So my first ever challenge group, I actually started like 2 weeks after I became a coach. So I just, posted on Facebook that I was running a challenge group, and I had some people that I was playing hockey with that said, hey, well, I'll do it with you. And it just kind of accidentally happened. I hadn't actually done a whole lot of work to get them. It was people that I already was focusing on my health with in my current life, so we were already on the same wavelength. So it was kind of cool, but we dove into a challenge group, and I had never actually been in a challenge group, like a complete challenge group, so I had no idea really what, from start to finish would really look like. So I started running my group, and I didn't know any better, so I just used Morgan's posts, and from a link I found her Google Docs, and I just used those, and I just posted them every day, and it went well, but I couldn't figure out about 6 months later how I was doing the same thing. I kind of switched things up a bit to be my own wording by then, but I couldn't figure out why was there not as much engagement? Why was it so hard to hit Success Club? And why was it so hard for people to see that this could really change your life and that a challenge group is important? And I remember, sitting in my room one night, and I was kind of going back into my Facebook to see how I originally was posting. And I was like, well, how could it be different? I should be better now. I'm more experienced. Like, how could I be doing worse today than I was at the beginning? And what I ended up finding out was when I went back into my other challenge groups, I actually saw that I went from being a challenger that just happened to be running a challenge group, so I was really engaged, to someone that just was coaching. And what I mean by that is sometimes coaches get in these funks where, you know, it's like monotonous, like another challenge group, like post this day, post that day, show like a sweaty selfie, and it can get really monotonous, and it can get really, you know, just kind of like what womp womp womp, like whatever. And it's really easy to disengage from your challengers. And what I noticed was when I was in that funk, I realized that what I wasn't doing was I wasn't being a challenger, and I lost grips of that. I lost my connection with them. And, you know, I was sharing my progress and stuff, but I wasn't being in the trenches with them. So I don't know if you've ever seen me post on Facebook or anything like that, but I always tell my ladies that I'm in the trenches with them now, and then I'm right there with them. And you know, this has happened to me a couple times where I kind of get bored with my challenge groups, and I lose my momentum, and I lose my focus, and it really affects my challengers because they come into a challenge group expecting you to be this like ultimate challenger that's going to help them and motivate them and inspire them. And it's really easy to kind of lose that spunk because you've been in so many of them. So in the last couple months, what I've been really focusing on is how can I motivate, how can I help coaches, and how can I avoid that happening to me? And, you know, for me, I realized, well, I enjoy the challenge groups most when I am a challenger. I enjoy them most when I'm engaged and I'm in competition with the other ladies, and I'm, you know, pushing them for their goals and really digging in and getting to know them. But when I was focusing on the content of the challenge group, I kind of got lost in that and then lost my passion for the challenge. So I kind of dialed it back, and I decided, well, you know, if they're going to have a good experience and if they're going to be motivated and inspired, then I need to do what speaks best to my heart. So I did a lot of soul searching, and I did a lot of YouTube watching, and I actually came across a video on Kelsey Pearson's failing forward when it came to challenge groups. And the same thing happened to her about a year into her career. And she said that she got so wrapped up in, you know, trying to balance everything in the business that she was so focused on sign up people for challenge packs, get them into a group, help them, and by the end turn them into a coach. And what she was really passionate about when it came to the business was being a challenger and was helping people and engaging with people. So she realized that her business actually kind of hit I guess a wall when she stopped engaging in her groups because her challengers were no longer having a great experience like they were before. So she dialed it back as well, and she said, well, I need to figure out a way to run my challenge groups that speaks to my heart, so I'm always motivated and I'm always inspired, so I can be an engaged super challenger to really motivate these challengers to do it with me. So that's what she did. And that's what I've been really focusing on now. And I can tell you in the last couple months, from me switching my mindset and motivating myself, that my challenge groups now are thriving. And when I put, say, 5 challengers into a new challenge group, you know, the last group, I had 4 of the 5 say, yes, I want to coach. So to me, when I go back and I look at, okay, well, how many challengers became coaches out of my challenge group? And there for a while, it was 0, 0, 0 every single month. I'm like, well, something's wrong, right? I need to connect with them. So when it comes to failing forward, sometimes you have to, you know, go try new things. You need to find your way. And sometimes you're going to fail and you're going to make mistakes. And that's okay, because now today I'm able to, you know, go back and I'm able to look at what I did, what worked, what didn't, and I'm able to make a stronger challenge group for my challengers. It motivates me, and it's going to allow me to be a better coach to the coaches on my team. It's going to allow me to be a better leader and just say, well, this is what I learned. It's not about your content. It's not about you know, how you run it. Everyone has their own way, but what matters is that it's inspiring, it's motivating, and you're engaged. If you're engaged, they're engaged. If you're not engaged, your challengers won't be either, and they're not going to have success because they're going to lose motivation, and they're not going to believe in themselves because you're not believing in yourself. Every challenger signs up to be with you, you know, they can get a challenge pack from anywhere. They could order it online themselves, but they signed up with you because you motivated them on your Facebook. So that is what I've learned. And, you know, it took me a good 6 months to kind of realize that what I was doing just was not working. And that's happened twice where I've hit those walls because I didn't take the time to go back through everything and, you know, make a list of what worked and what didn't work. So my advice to you when it comes to challenge groups, if you're not getting coaches from your challengers or you're seeing a lot of disconnected challengers, go back, take a little look, see what worked, what didn't. If you're a new coach and you've only ran one group, go into your coach's challenge group that you were in and write down all the things that you saw that worked or you liked and make those lists. If you've never been in a challenge, you know, or if you have coaches that sign up that have never been in a challenge group, let them go into some old groups that are done of yours and let them take notes of what they think works and doesn't work, and they can, you know, find their own way and their own way of doing challenge groups. So that's my advice when it comes to challenge groups and just really learning from those failing moments. So, Autumn, do you want to share something? Or do you want me to keep talking?
Yeah, I'll go. No, I can go. So the reason why, I guess I could have touched on this before, but the reason why this topic is so important, especially when you're going, you know, towards being a leader of your own team, diamond, whatever your goal is, emerald, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to do the wrong thing. And you need to know it's okay. You need to understand that that's a good thing. It means that there's growth happening. It means that you're learning and you're getting to be a better leader and a better coach, a better coach for your challenges and for your team as a mentor. So the first one I want to talk about is coaches quitting. And whether you've had that already on your team or not, you probably will. Every coach has this happen. And especially at the beginning when it first happened to me, oh my gosh, would it sting? It would sting and it would sit with me for days and it would upset me. And even now, I still sit there and wonder, like, did I do something wrong? Was I a bad leader? Kelsey can attest to this. Literally, the other week I had a situation that, you know, was nothing to do with them actually quitting or anything, but I had a situation where I felt like a bad leader because of it. And Kelsey literally watched me walk through a moment of like such a down moment of being so upset and mad with myself and like questioning my abilities to say, no, I did nothing wrong in this situation. Like, I'm a good leader. Like, you know, maybe I just don't mesh with this person, or, you know, maybe there was a miscommunication or whatever it was. And then I was able to feel good about myself and as a leader again. She was like, there we go, there you are. But, you know, at the beginning, I went through this period of time around September, August, September-ish, and I actually had coaches falling off. And it was really upsetting because by that time, I actually became a full-time coach. So when then you become a full-time coach and that's your income and your team is at a good spot, you're like, awesome, my volume's good. You know, I'm at a good place where I can be a full-time coach. And you start having coaches kind of dwindle away. It's scary. It's kind of panicky. And you don't want that feeling in your business. You don't ever want to become panicked and stressed because it's not about the income, right? It's about helping people. So having that stress on your shoulders about income isn't what you want. And I could have quit. You know, when I've seen this dwindling down and me feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to restart, I could have quit, right? I could have thrown the towel and I could have said, you know what, this is too hard. I'm failing. I'm a bad leader. I suck, and just been done, right? I could have done that because that's what a lot of people do. And instead, I took it as a moment. I mean, it took me a little while. I'm not going to lie. A part of why I am talking about this hurdle is the mistake that I made. And the mistake that I made was treating them too much like friends, treating it like a friendship, which it is, but you're also running a business. So you have to confront these situations no matter how awkward or weird they are. If they're falling off, you need to talk to them. Say, what are your goals? Are you still wanting to do this? You need to talk with them. I let it slide and I let it pass and I didn't make a big deal about it. And I figured, oh, they're my friends. You know, I talked to them like months ago. Their goals were to be here at Summit. They were going to be a full-time coach. They were doing this with me 100%. They all promised to be diamond coaches. And I let that sit there for months thinking, it's fine. They got my back. They're my friends. They're going to do this with me. You know, they are going through a tough time with their family or their friends or their work or whatever the situation was. And I made excuses for them and I pulled back. I didn't continue to grow my team. I didn't continue to sponsor coaches. I made excuses for them and my business flunked because I played too much of the friend role rather than the mentor and the business role. And, you know, I did that. The mistake that I think I made, looking back, because every hurdle is meant to teach you something. And that's what was in the post today, is that every single hurdle that you come across, it can either make you or it can break you. And you have to choose which one it's going to do. Are you going to sit there and think about it and figure out, okay, how can I learn and grow from this? Or are you going to say, you know what, I'm throwing in the towel and I'm done because this was hard? You have to make that decision. And I decided to pull back a little bit and sit there and think, okay, why am I in this position right now? Why is my volume dropping? Why are coaches, you know, maybe leaving my team? What is the situation here? Why am I in this place? And it came down to a big reason is I pushed people who this wasn't meant for. You can't make people want this. They have to want it themselves. And I was so caught up in like, oh, these, you know, I might mesh with this person really well. So I'm like, oh, they're going to make an amazing coach. Or, you know, constantly revving your engine and cheerleading and hand holding and doing this and wanting it for them that it wasn't actually for them. So when they had a moment to breathe, they're like, this isn't for me. You know, like this isn't the path that I want to be on. And I totally respect that. And I understand this isn't for everybody. But I pushed people to do this because I wanted it too much for them. I was worried about volume, or I was worried about rank, and I wanted to be full-time coaching. Those are amazing things, but you have to pick quality over quantity. It really isn't about quantity. It isn't about signing up 30 coaches in 1 month. They all don't match you, and you're going to have to handhold them. And that's not what it's about. If you find 1 or 2 amazing rock star coaches that month who want to run with you and mesh with you and want to build this business because they truly, truly care about helping people and get it, then you're golden. It takes 1 person on your entire team to change your whole business, and you can't want it for them. So that was a hurdle that I went through, and it's a hurdle that every single one of you will probably go through with people leaving and quitting. And, you know, the way that I think I dealt with it was not in the best way, but when I actually got my head wrapped around the situation, I dug into personal development. I dug into leadership personal development. I dug into things that were going to help me be a better leader, a better mentor, a better person. And that's a lot of training videos. It's a lot of just reworking my methods, reworking how I led my team, and thinking back, like I do, Kelsey and me, like we're not joking when we say we do a ton of self-reflection. We have to. That's why we have that date in there every single week. You have to reflect on your business, where you were and where you are, because if you don't, you're never going to grow. And it's okay. Like, you should fail. You should go for it. I'm so happy. I really am. I am happy that I went through these situations, and I'm so happy that people have quit my team, and I'm happy. And you're going to be like, why is that so weird? Why are you happy? But I'm happy because I've learned, and I've become a better person through it. And not only that, but I can help my team. And that's something that I tell my team every time they're going through something. I'm like, you're going through this for a reason, and I want you to learn and even write down what you're going through, what happened with this coach, whatever situation it is, write it down. And then I want you to write down how you dealt with it and how you grew from it, and what that did for you and your team, because you're going to have to help your team go through this exact same thing at some point. So that's my mindset when something really awful happens to me, and I'm going to explain the other ones after flip-flopping back and forth with Kelsey. But every time something really bad happens to me in my business, not only is it not the worst, it really is the worst thing that can happen to you, but it is a frustrating hurdle, but it's always happening for a reason. So take it as a learning lesson to help your coaches with in the future, because they're going to go through it, and it's better that you've gone through it first and you know how to deal with it, so you can help them get through it as well. So I'll pass it over to Kelsey.
Okay, so I'm actually going to piggyback off of that. My second experience was to share about leading a team. So when I actually first started growing my team, I wasn't in the mindset of what a team should look like or what it would be like or anything like that. All I knew was I had these cool ladies that are approaching me saying, hey, I want to do this. How can I start? And I said, well, sign up with me. I was a new coach, right? And instead of, I guess, reflecting and looking at what Morgan did as a coach, I was looking at, what she's, how do I word this? Okay, so I guess sorry, I need to close my notes. Okay, so when I was looking at it, I was thinking, okay, well, I want to be their friend. They're super cool. I want them to be successful, but I wanted them to enjoy it. And I was afraid that the amount of work was going to push them away. And I made the mistake of thinking that I needed to be their crutch and help, take some work off of them so they could be successful, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to share my things that I've learned and help them not make the same mistakes as me by then letting them have less work on their plate. But I made the mistake by just doing some work for them, if that makes sense. So I guess what I learned was, as a new leader, as someone that's, going emerald or going diamond, the best thing you can do is the assignments that we're sharing with you. Literally, when we have assignments to, make something for your team, share your tips, or, share how to, have conversations and stuff, that is what is going to help your team, hit Success Club. That's what's going to help your team to get over those bumps, because you have, as a leader, you've hit those bumps yourself and you have failed forward. You've had to, stumble a couple of times. You've had to figure out a new way of doing it, and you've had to, hi, sweetie, and you've had to figure your way out, right? Now, when you have new coaches and they approach you and they say, hey, I haven't hit Success Club, what do I do? You might think, okay, well, I could help them, I guess, right? I could, do a shout out, a coach spotlight or something, get some eyes on them. And those are great things to do. But what really would have helped them is you sharing what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And then saying, here, try this, giving them those tools, having those things available to them. And that's where the power of your story can really come into play. We often talk about your story from the perspective of sharing your experience with potential challengers, but we forget that our story can really influence and impact our coaches as well. So as a new leader, you're going to run into these bumps where you're going to say, okay, well, you can apprentice in my challenge group, and then, okay, well, now you can stay for a second month. Well, I guess you can stay for a third month, but all you're doing, you're not really helping them. All you're doing is making it so that way they can't become their own leader. And I made that mistake for a long time. Instead of saying, hey, you're an awesome coach, you can go do it, go fly, go be an awesome coach, I just kept saying, hey, well, it's half the work, or it takes the load off them or takes the pressure off them. And it made it so that way, coaches were afraid to take that leap. When they've been working with you and being in your challenge groups and being in your training for so long, it can be really scary to go into your own thing. So when I start looking back at my leadership style, I made the mistake of thinking that my coaches couldn't do it without me. Every single coach can do it without you. They just need to hear what you've done, what you've tried, what has worked and what hasn't, and why. So that's where making those posts can really come in handy, and sharing your experience. And that's one of the things that you just really need to kind of reflect on and embrace, because a new leader leads by example. A new leader shares the ups and downs, and a new leader isn't, you might be friends outside of coaching, but when it comes to coaching, you need to be the mentor. You need to be the person that's leading by example. You need to be the person saying, hey, you know what you're doing isn't working. You know, the way you posted today isn't working for you. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. You know, getting involved in their business from that perspective, if they want it, is a good way. But getting involved in their business by doing their business isn't a good way of leading. So I made those mistakes because I wanted to take the pressure off my coaches. So the best thing you can do, though, is the opposite, is actually saying, you can fly, you can do this. You have all the tools that you need to be successful. You know, I didn't have much when I started. I started running my own challenge group before I even had finished a challenge group. And the reason I was able to do that successfully is because Morgan said, hey, here's my scripts. You can use them. And that's all I needed. And that's all they need too. So I guess when we look at failing forward and leading your team is, you know, share your experiences, share your story. Let them learn from you. Let them avoid your mistakes. Or maybe they're going to, you know, try them out anyway, but that's up to them. A leader, a good leader, is someone that, you know, candidly shares their experiences and wants the people in their life to be successful. A leader doesn't handhold, and a leader doesn't do work for others. So when it comes to your team, I really want you to really think about that. Think about, if you had 30 coaches sign up tomorrow, could you handhold every single one of them? No. If you had 30 coaches sign up tomorrow, would you be able to have them all apprentice in your challenge group at once? Probably not. So start thinking about, how am I going to do this? What works for me? How did I learn the best? You know, if I could be the best, like the best coach for me, what would that look like? And you need to be that coach. You need to be the coach that you wish you had. So when it comes to leadership, that's my tips from my experience and my mistakes. Autumn, do you want to share your next one?
Yeah, thank you. Much fun to talk about next. Okay. I think this one will be shorter, so I threw an extra one on there just because I realized another thing I did. So, okay, so one thing that you're going to go through is life events, and some of these hurdles that I'm talking about are a little bit more on the emotional side, because I find that maybe it's my team, or maybe it's everybody, but I find that especially me, I struggle with a lot of emotional, back and forth. And I think it's important to touch on that because we all struggle with things like comparison and failure in life events. So those are the kind of hurdles that I've gone through. So I want to just share about those. So life events are going to happen. Bad things, good things, being busy, like all that stuff is going to happen. And one thing that happened to me, I guess, a couple of months ago was my grandpa was in the hospital. And my thing's like, yes, I know I've heard about this, I'm sorry. But he was in the hospital, and that's not a laughing matter, I guess, because he ended up passing away in December. And it was super sudden. We did not expect it. We were in the hospital for about 6 weeks with him, and a week before he passed away, we found out he had a week to live, and we had no idea any of this was going to happen. So it was tough, and I could have just hid away, right? I came home every day crying. I was always upset. It was hard to pull myself out of bed. I'm like, why is this happening to me and my family? Like, where did this come from? He was fine. Those things happen. People in your life get hurt or pass away, or whatever the situation is, you're going to come across some kind of hurdle in your life that makes it hard to keep going. And I took my computer to the hospital, and I hosted a live webinar. I would plug into my groups. I would take some time, and I still worked. Every single day, I still did what I had to do. I would take my moments, and I would take my time, but I had a team depending on me. And I had challenges depending on me. Yes, you have to feel, you have to take time. Absolutely, life happens. But at the same time, remember that how you handle a situation and what you do is going to be what your team does. So if something bad happens, and whether it's in your marriage or relationship, I mean, me and my boyfriend are fighting right now. If I was just pulled away and said, you guys, I'm not getting on this call because I'm in a really bad place right now, and I'm a little bit upset, and we're kind of going at it, and I just pulled away, what kind of message does that send to my team and to you guys, right? That's saying when the going gets tough, just pull away. And then that's saying that your leaders will do the same. And I want my leaders to be leaders. I want them to push through the hard things. I want them to be able to get through those life events and still work their business and still take care of themselves. So that's a hurdle that, you know, that I went through and that I'm going to go through again at some point, whether it's that or something else. Everybody has something, an emotional baggage every single day, or, you know, in their life, I guess not every single day, but everybody goes through something in their life that it's out of their control, or it sucks. And if you want to pull away and you just want to sit on your couch and you want to say, I'm not working, I'm just going to, you know, sit on my phone or watch Netflix and binge eat pizza. And it's like, I totally get it. Like, I feel you. It's so much better that way, and that's what you want to do. But at the same time, when I actually plug in, and because I got on this call, like, it makes me feel better being surrounded by you guys, right? That's what this whole thing is about, by being a part of a community and being a part of something more with people who just get it. And there's just no gain by pulling away from your business, because those people need to trust you. Your team needs to trust you. Your challengers need to trust you. And if you pull away completely, that doesn't say much about your leadership. So just know that you have to find a way in your own way, whatever it is, to get through those tough times and still stay plugged in for those people who are following you and have their trust in you. Yes, sometimes it sucks and sometimes it's tough. Maybe you're plugging into personal development again. Maybe you're just taking a moment to yourself. You go have a hot shower, bath, whatever it is. Talk to your coach. If something's going on, feel free to reach out to me or Kelsey. If you have a success partner, reach out to them and talk it out with them and let them know what's going on. I've also shared, you know, I also don't keep it to myself. Like, people need to know when things are kind of going on. Of course, in a positive way, you know, like when I was having a really tough time with my job, I made sure to share it in my challenge groups. I wanted them to know what was going on. But when I did that, my challengers stepped up and they're like, I got you. I'm going to help and make sure this is engaged and everyone's taken care of, because they want to make sure that I was okay. And that's what the whole community and team is about. And so when I let my team know the same thing, and they stepped up. And that's what you want to create. You want to create a team of leaders who can be there for you when the going gets tough. If that makes sense. It's not like a major hurdle, but when I went through that, I realized, and I took it as a learning lesson, that I could have easily pulled away. Very, very easily. But I had to find it in me to set an example for my team, because I wanted my team to have the strength to get through situations too, but still work their business. And I also wanted them to know that I did it, and that they could come to me for advice, or they could use me as an example for how they can do it too. Because yeah, like life gets hard. Sometimes it just sucks, and not every day is good. But you can't, no matter, and this doesn't matter what job you're in. It doesn't matter if you're a coach. It doesn't matter if you got to go to work and help customers, you know, at a retail store. It doesn't matter where you are. You got to talk to people. You have employees that you have to talk to. It doesn't matter where you are in your job, even if it's outside of coaching. What do your bosses always say? Leave it at the door. When you come to work, you're at work. And I think that's, you know, kind of the same mentality I have. Like, I still got to work, you know? So just know that when you have those hurdles, it's okay, but use it as an opportunity to open up to the people who are trusting in you and following you, so that they know you're real and relatable, and that you go through things too, but you find it in you to still get that workout in, or you find it in you to still connect with your team, or that you still help people and you still find a way to be positive and find a learning lesson out of it. So that's kind of my spiel on life hurdles.
All right, I'm going to quickly piggyback off that a little bit. So my next one was actually Success Club, and it has to do with life hurdles as well. So, you know, sometimes we have things that might come up in our life that make it so it's hard to want to dive into conversations with people and be motivating and uplifting and, you know, really encourage people to go after their own goals when you're struggling with your own, right? And I don't know if you've had this yet or if you've experienced it, or, you know, maybe you will one day, but sometimes we get in funks with our own fitness and our health, and having a conversation with someone else to get them motivated to do their own is really hard. It's super hard. And sometimes I find myself, if, you know, if I'm off with my food that week or I miss some workouts, I feel like, you know, I'm not being real. I'm not being honest. And, you know, it's hard to, I think it's integrity, I guess, is you want to be honest with the people that are following you, and you want to live up to the way that they're viewing you and the way you portray yourself, right? Because you want to be real with them. And then you're like, okay, well, today I have to message so many people because that's what my tracker says, and that's how you move your business forward, but you're not feeling it. So it can be really difficult. And I found myself going through a couple little bumps in the road over the last couple months where I still was hitting Success Club. And the reason I was still hitting Success Club was because I did a really awesome job of engaging with people for the several months before. You see, if you're doing work today and messaging people, you're setting yourself up for 3 months down the road. So I did a really great job last summer and before summer. So when it came to Success Club all fall, it was pretty, you know, it was pretty easy because I'd been having those conversations before. Well, then October, November, and December came along, and I had a really, really emotionally hard time during my internship. And I found myself, I lost track of my fitness. I gained 16 pounds. I just, you know, I lost it all. I couldn't find myself. And I found it really difficult to start those conversations with people and to really engage because I didn't feel like I was being real. And yeah, I had, you know, shared a little bit on Facebook about what was going on and stuff, but sometimes there's also professional things where, you know, I couldn't really talk about what was going on. And so I found it really hard to be, you know, honest with you know, the public that I was trying to reach out to. And I found myself pulling back. And what happened was in December, January, and February, Success Club has been very hard for me, harder than it was even as a brand new coach, because I had no conversations from before. I had no one that was ready to do it. No one's ready to jump in. And because I gained 16 pounds, I hadn't shared it very well. I had, you know, some people hadn't seen any pictures of me. They hadn't seen any transformations. So they were maybe not trusting in me, right? I don't know what they were thinking, but I saw this crazy, you know, pullback in my business. And when I started to think about it, you know, it was in January, well, when auditing more so in November, I started to realize what I had been doing, and I started getting my butt back into gear. And then in the new year, I've been crazy messaging people and building those conversations. And, you know, today I was at Success Club 4. Okay, I've been a coach for 23 months, and I was at Success Club 4 today. And I had messaged every single person I could possibly think of and started over 150 conversations in the last 2 weeks. Okay. And yet no one was committing, but it's because they were brand new people. They didn't know my story from before. They didn't know, you know, my transformation or anything. These are new people that I added on Facebook. So today I am now sitting at Success Club 8 by tonight, and I have one more that's supposed to buy tonight. So Success Club 10, hopefully tonight, but if not, I made my Success Club 5. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because it doesn't matter if you're a brand new coach or you've been a coach for 5 years. If you stop doing those vital behaviors, and if you stop sharing what's really going on and how you're feeling, you're going to lose that trust in people, and it's really hard to get it back, and it's really hard to start moving forward again. So because I've had all those conversations, though, I have for sure 3 girls already buying in the first week of March. So, you know, because of the follow-ups, because of the consistency, I'm going to have a great March, and I'm going to have a great April, and probably a great May, because I'm going to keep being consistent. So you're going to hit road bump. bumps. And what I've learned is it doesn't matter how long you've coached for. You need to be consistent. You need to be reaching out to people and sharing your story. And the biggest mistake I made was not sharing my story every single week, or at least every couple times a month, of my story from the beginning. You are adding 5 people every single day that have no idea who you are. They have no idea what you've been through. They have no idea where you started. So they're looking at you today and they might think, okay, well, whatever, she looks like she's already fit. Like, why is she sharing this? But when you start reaching out to people and say, hey, I've lost 60 pounds, or hey, I used to be a Pepsi addict and I literally couldn't get through the night without getting up to drink Pepsi, and I had a serious problem. You know, then they're like, whoa, okay, this person actually has been through some things like me, and they can start to relate to you. So I really encourage you to share this part of your journey and share the beginning part as well, so people can really get the big picture and understand why you're sharing this opportunity. So my feeling forward when it comes to Success Club is, don't hide when you are having a rough go. If you gain some weight, miss some workouts or whatever, share it. That is something, I go through other top coaches Facebooks and I'm like, okay, well, what are they sharing? I take notes. The number one thing I see is when a coach that has missed their workouts more than one day, they write about it. They talk about it. They share why. They share how it made them feel. They share why they want to be back on that workout. So it's so important to be real. People want to be with a real coach. They want to be with someone, that does have the ups and downs and that will understand. So when it comes to Success Club and challenge groups and leading a team, just be real, just be you, and just take every single setback you have as the opportunity to learn and grow. For every, no you get, for every failing moment you have, for every time you gain a pound, take it as a moment of motivation to go 2 steps forward. So that's my final share for today. Autumn, I don't know if you have something else or if we want to open it up to questions.
Yeah, I actually have, I do.
Okay.
And I'll answer, Heather, I'll answer your question after because I see it in the chat, but I'll try to get through a couple of these here quick because I think they're kind of both important. Tracking, oh my gosh, track your business. Oh, Kelsey can attest to this, especially who you're talking to. I'm not an organized person, you guys. I hate it. I'm writing the book, forget the book kind of person, and I tried so many different methods and nothing worked. Oh my gosh, but track your business. What I decided to do kind of over the weekend, I had not this weekend, last weekend, I had an aha moment or something after a breakdown I'll talk about. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people at my fingertips that I haven't talked to. I have over 2,500 Facebook friends, and I probably scammed 1% or so. And what I started realizing was every time I wanted to go to invite people, it's annoying because I'd have to go through my 2,500 friends list and make lists of people. And you're like, I don't want to do it because it takes time. And then what happens? It doesn't get done. So do this now before you just had to do what I did. So I decided to start using, I love Google. They have just everything on there. You can get it on your phone wherever you go, right? So I started to I made a tracker document through Excel on Google. It's all free and stuff. You just make one like that. They had a template for a roster. I literally just used that. And me and Kelsey kind of went back and forth about some things we could put on there, like, did you send a welcome message? Did they respond? Have you liked at least 3 of their posts? Have you commented on about 3 of their posts? Have you invited them to challenge group? What was their response? Have you invited them again? We even put that in there because, have you done it again? Because usually they're not usually yes right off the hop, right? And then inviting to coaching, response, and I made a big tracker. Okay, so 2,500 friends. This is what I did. I went through my friends list, and I spent, oh my gosh, this was 15 minutes I had on my scroll button. I scrolled the whole way down my friends list, and I had my finger on the mouse pad. And it literally was there for 15 minutes. my finger was sweaty and it was gross. And I pasted Carly, I pasted it into a document because I was like, I don't want to do this again. So I put it into a document and I'm like, okay, just leave it there. Awesome. I stepped away from it for a second because when I looked back at it, I had about 900 pages to go through. I'm like, oh, that's fun. Great. I get to do this now. Well, what was I doing like 18 months ago? Why didn't I do this when everybody told me to? Because I'm that person. I have to figure it out myself and then I regret it later. So anyways, it took me a little bit of time. Basically, I copied and pasted every single name and I scrolled through pages. But then what I also did was I left people out that I didn't want to connect with, just so that I had a good, fresh set of people. Because I had anywhere from 10 to 20 people a day. So that's a lot of people. And it took a lot of time. And it sucked doing it when I got to 2,500, but I could have done it probably 1,000 friends less. So, track your business. Because this way it's going to save you so much time. Yes, it sucks. It's tedious. But this way you're not going to make excuses when it comes to inviting. You got a whole list of people right in front of you. When you have time, even when you're out and about, you're like, oh, I wonder who I should go page to kind of connect with and maybe like their stuff or, oh, awesome, I like their stuff. Maybe I'm going to go comment on their stuff now. I literally was doing that today. I went through. I didn't send my welcome message to this person. Awesome. I missed them. I got to get that person in. It saves you so much time in the long run. And you have all these people at your fingertips to help. I'm looking through this and I have like probably 900 people I can connect with. I'm like, what am I doing? So just track it. And I mean, I use a tracker too every week. Like I write everything down and I track my business. It's the same thing that we have pretty much in the group for trackers. Because I also didn't do that. I'm stubborn, you guys. I didn't get on national wake-up calls. I didn't get on bombshell calls. I didn't track my business. I didn't do anything. And I thought I was moving my business forward, and I wasn't. So just learn from my mistake. I'm really going to share this with my team this week because that took me a long time to go through 900 pages of friends, to copy and paste names into a tracker. But I'm so happy I did. And now any new friends that I get, it's in my recent ads, and I'll just go and pop them in, send over welcome messages, and I'm good. And it's so nice. So track it, track your business. Don't make that mistake because it sucks. So that's just a small hurdle, and I'm just sort of writing it down after. Yes, they must know. Yeah, I can take like a little picture. Actually, can we double screen share? Can I screen share this? I'll see if we're like screen sharing through Facebook tracker. Okay. So this is what I did, and it's like first name, last name, welcome message. Did they respond? Like 3 of their posts, comments on 2 of their posts. Started a conversation. What topic? It says player 1 because I literally took this from a roster template. In my date to challenge group, what was the response? Follow up, additional follow up, date to invite to coaching, response, and any extra notes. So this is what it looks like. This is how long it took me to put names. I started typing them and I said, what am I doing? I can't do that. Yeah, I'm still going. Literally, still going. And these are just the people I want to connect with. Don't make this mistake. It's crazy. So at least now that I just make little one ticks, decided if I have put like their stuff, look at the people I can connect with. Like, look at this. This is crazy. I'm still going. I'm going right back up. Okay. So that is my tip. Track your business. Okay, and I'm just going to talk one little one before, and then we'll open it up to questions. Since Kelsey said she was good. Oh, you're up there. I was like, did you leave? Okay. Comparison and not setting expectations for yourself. On the past weekend, I literally did. I had a major breakdown. You're going to think I'm the most emotional, crazy mess ever because that's what I'm talking about. But I did. Eventually, you put a lot on you. Me and Kelsey do this a lot because we're so passionate about what we do that sometimes we overwork ourselves. Sometimes we don't take breaks. We don't make, other things priorities. We plug in so much to help our teams and to grow ourselves and do so much because we want your guys' success, we want our success, we want us for everything, really. And it's really easy to not set expectations for yourself and like hours where you're working, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by things like that, or with comparison. I'm sure every single one of you has compared yourself to a coach, another person, a profile, an Instagram account, whatever it is, and I still do it, frequently. I'm not gonna lie, but this is something that I'm working on, which is why I went and got this book. I got this one. I don't know, I haven't read it yet. I literally just got it yesterday. It says, May Cause Miracles. It's about like unlimited happiness and changing that. Because last time I needed a leadership book, so I went and got a leadership book. And that's what this training is really based on, is this one. It's amazing. Becoming a person of influence. And then right about now, I'm like, I need some emotional help. So I'm gonna get one of these books. And I'm super excited to dig into it because it's so easy for us to compare yourselves to someone else in this business and get caught up in what they're doing, and then you lose yourself. And that's what happened, is I started comparing myself to other leaders and other coaches and other teams and other people, and then I started losing myself in trying to be like them. And it's just something that naturally happens sometimes to people, and I want you to realize that, like, you guys are so uniquely you, and people are going to connect with you because of you, and you're going to drain yourself, and you're going to get exhausted, and you're going to lose your passion if you are not you. Don't worry about what other people are posting, don't worry about what they're doing, and if you have to go and unfollow everybody, delete them, do it. You can always search them if you unfollow them later. If you're like, what are they up to? I haven't seen their posts in a while. You can go look at their page. But unfollow people that make you unhappy or make you feel comparison or make you feel like you're not good enough. And it's not like they're doing it intentionally, but it's easy to get caught up in other people, other coaches, whatever it is, in what they're doing, because you're going to see, oh, well, they're so successful. That post was amazing, or I love their pictures, or whatever. And that's okay to have inspiration, but it's another thing when you start getting wrapped up in their world and it actually cripples you, and it cripples you from even working or posting or talking or doing anything because you're so caught up in what other people are doing, what they're doing. And that happened to me, and it's happened to me before. And honestly, it'll probably happen to me again because I'm human and it's natural and it happens. But you have to learn how to pull yourself out of that. And what that was for me was setting expectations and doing some work on myself and reading some personal development and talking to Kelsey and get a success partner if you don't have one. Find a friend. Derek hates when I always talk to him about my issues because eventually he's like, okay, all right, fine. So I talk to Kelsey and I'm like, hey girl, you totally got what I'm feeling. You understand me. She's like, do this, do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm a new person, and it's good. So I did watch a video. It was That's the West that Kelsey shared with me from Amy Silverman. And she also shared one from Anita Meyer. She's like, go to this spot in this video and watch it. And sometimes that's what you gotta do, is just listen to other coaches go through what you go through and know that it's normal. And know that it's okay to feel how you feel, but don't let it bring you down, and don't let it halt your business, and don't let it control it, because at the end of the day, those people are still out there working their businesses, and they're still doing what they gotta do, and they aren't halted. They're not halted by you, so don't get halted by them, and just do your best to acknowledge when that's happening, and then do what you gotta do to pull out of it, whether that's unfollowing them, or personal development, or talking to somebody, whatever it is, something that makes you happy. If you like to dance around to really loud music and that makes you happy, do it. Whatever it is. But just try so hard to maybe even write down all the things that make you you, and really start thriving on that. What do you want? Who are you as a person? Who do you want to connect with? What do you want people to see as your message? And just share that. It's you are so you, and people are coming to you for a reason. They're not, if they wanted me, or they wanted to go to the person I'm trying to be like, they would go to them. They're coming to you. So be authentic and be you, and know that it's okay to be unique and different, and it's okay to have your own spin on things and do things differently. And yeah, that's it. Just, I'm not going to speak too much more on that. Just know that comparison is normal, and literally we'd all do it. So
okay, should we give 10 minutes of questions? Okay, Have a good night, Carl. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah.
Heather had a question in the chat, and it was, Tamara, yeah, I can take like a screenshot of it or write it because it's kind of weird. I'll figure out a way and post that next to you guys. Can all do that as well. Heather, so how do you go about sharing about relationship issues? It is tough because, and I pay attention to how some coaches do this, because it does get tough. Like, you know, of course, the first thing when something is upsetting with me and something sucks, the first thing I want to do is go and like tell the Facebook world, not because I want their sympathy, but because it makes me feel connected, and it makes me feel like, because they're part of my community, they're part of like my journey and who I am, and I like them knowing everything that's going on. But it is true when it comes to relationship stuff, you have to kind of pick and choose those battles because you don't want to put anybody on blast, and you don't want that looking negative completely on your relationship, and those things happen, right? But everybody has issues in their relationships, and I think it's just you know, it can just feel like, you know, I'm just having kind of a bad day, and you can maybe even like put like a little joke on it, like me and the hubby are like going at it, you know, but it's gonna be fine, and you can kind of make a joke about it if you want to, because it doesn't have to look negative in their eyes, but people will see, okay, she's human, they're going through a little spat, it's all good, they're gonna be fine, and then you can post a learning lesson from it. I watched a Snapchat of Amy Silverman putting her boyfriend or her husband on blast because of something that happened on their trip. She's like, Kevin did this, I'm so mad at him. He did this on the trip, and he almost made me go off this huge mountain, and I don't know if I think you have her on there, but she's funny. So she did that. I really like watching Bonnie Engel and some other coaches. Who was it? Oh, Lindsay State. Lindsay State actually made a post about how her and her husband were fighting, and then she posted after, like, we made up, and this is, you know, this and this, because you are letting people, like, they're your family, right? But you do want to be selective in what you're sharing, right? So maybe a little bit, but don't like post the whole thing, because you don't want to be that, you know, that negative Nancy on someone's feed, like, oh, another relationship issue, great, let's scroll past that. So yeah, I guess that's the best. There's no right or wrong way to do it, I guess, just subtly and positive.
And it depends on the topic as well, right? Like, if it's your husband or a family member, someone is like struggling with you in your business, you may want, like, it'll depend how you word it, right? Because you want people to, you don't want people to think that, like, if they start being a coach, they're going to have issues too, right? So, you know, sometimes it's like you have to share it in a way of talking about the positives, talking about, you know, sometimes there's lovers quarrels when you're finding new ways, but when we find new ways and we open up new opportunities, that's when we truly grow. And I'm excited to see where, like, this quarrel is gonna lead us, you know, like making, like, you can use your personality or your humor or like a twist on words to share that there's a quarrel going on or a disagreement, but then you can just kind of like allude to, like, you know, this, whenever there's a bump in the road, there's always an up too, right? And just like keep it positive, and people like that kind of stuff too as well. Everyone's unmuted. So does anybody have any questions or anything they want to celebrate? Wait, hold on, before I say anything. Alyssa just hit Success Club. Just wanted to put that out there. She did it. So good for you, girl. Heather hit Success Club. I'm pretty pumped. Who else hit Success Club?
25 minutes on hold trying to get through to Coach Relations to switch this customer over to me because she had a free account from like 2 years ago. And then she couldn't get it to work, so she gave me all her information for me to put the order through. Like, I woke up at Success Club 2 this morning, and everything just finalized tonight. Like,
that's awesome. That just shows that, like, you can pull it off in literally the nick of time. Like, you really can. And yeah, like, huge shout out to Erin, because Erin is still fairly new coach at her team, and she had success for her first time.
Woohoo!
And literally pulled it off tonight. So yeah, woo.
That's awesome.
No, that's awesome. So good job, girl. I love that we were shouting out some success club on here.
Yeah, okay. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they've struggled with? No.
My whole February struggle, so I'm not gonna get it.
Your whole February. February is a hard month. It really typically is. So is autumn. When you say February, I found August hard, honestly. I found August really hard. December.
I don't know. This year's been very different than last year so far. So, like last year, I think these were January and February were my best months last year, and they're like not my best months this year. So I don't know. It's so different. Like you can't predict anything within this business. It's so different all the time. So you just kind of got to roll with it.
Oh, I love it.
It really is. Like this month is fun for me too. I didn't expect that, but it was.
You know, that's the thing though, is like if you're consistent, just because you have a hard month doesn't, like, that just means that next month's gonna be even better because you're consistent, right? Like we all have hard months, it's okay. And it's like that for every coach. Like I was watching a call from a top coach and she's like, yeah, some months are really difficult. Like, you know, just you never know. So anyways, anybody have any other things that they've maybe like come up against, or things that they're wishing they had, or you know, don't know how to do? Because as a new coach, there was lots of things I'm like, I have no idea how that coach did it or what they did, but I want to know how, but I don't want to ask because I'm too afraid to ask. Do you have any of those questions?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really good opportunity if you guys are like dealing with any kind of hurdle, no matter what it is, emotional or just within your business, and guidance and getting through.
None.
Nay.
I find that hard to believe. I have them daily, you guys. Every day. I'm like, how do you do that? Seriously. Oh, okay. Just a little fun fact, because I learned this the other day on YouTube. So Facebook works by, there's like an algorithm of how often things are naturally pushed along in the news feed. So on your personal Facebook, just the status without a picture is pushed up in a news feed more naturally. So if you're having lower likes or views on your page or on your Facebook with your pictures, every now and then put in just a status to get people back on your Facebook. I actually started doing that in the last like couple days. And so I posted a picture of something I really wanted people to see. And then a couple minutes later, I just posted a status. So then they click on it and they'll comment on it, and then they'll end up looking, like I'll see them typing, like, or they'll comment on my thing, and then all of a sudden like liking all my other pictures. So getting people onto your Facebook, that's a good way. Then pictures are seen, or sorry, statuses, then pictures, and then videos, and then YouTube videos. If you like copy and a YouTube video onto your Facebook, they're not shared as much. So I was like, okay, well, how do I solve that problem? Because I want people to view the videos that I share, but just sharing them off YouTube doesn't work. So I saw Morgan did it, and I was like, okay, if Morgan can figure out how to do this, then so can I. And I was going to message her and find out how to do it. And I was like, no, I'm a big girl. I can figure this out on my own. So I went to Google and I typed it in. And all you literally have to do, like literally, I'm going to screen share this because this is amazing. Okay, so you literally can go into YouTube. Oops, this is all over the place here. Oh, can't move it. No. Okay. Okay, so you go into YouTube and say, let's click on any video. Oh, or maybe it's not gonna.
You have enough tabs open, yes.
I know, this is nothing compared to normal days. Okay, well, whatever, it's not showing up. But say you click on a video, if you go right after the the dot, after www, put SS, and then like copy the link and open it in a new tab, it will take you to this download thing. And then you press download and it saves onto your computer. And then you can just upload it onto Facebook as if it's your own video.
Oh, that's an awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, because I was like, how are coaches doing this? Like, how are they, right? And I had seen on different videos about like pages, how Facebook like pages really, really like naturally share or promoting videos for you. And I was like, but like, how do I do that unless it's my own video that I like took of myself? Because they were talking about like naturally generating views from things that you like watching or things you're interested in doing. And I was like, well, how do they do that, right? Yeah, that's how they do it. They put SS and then they download it and then they put it onto your Facebook. So that's how, if you've ever seen a coach that's sharing a video that they clearly didn't make, and it's like says like Kelsey Bachinski, and it's like my ad in this video, and it doesn't have anything to do with YouTube, it's because that's how they did it. They downloaded it first. So anyways, that's what I learned. It's awesome. Yeah, that's my tip for today. Anyways, that was my hurdle, I guess. Other than that, Autumn, did you, or not Autumn, you already shared your stuff, so did I. Heather, Carly, Alyssa, Lisa, Erin. Nothing? Nothing. Oh my goodness. Okay, well.
Business everybody's been great, but personal life has been interesting.
Difficult, yeah.
Struggling, just been, yeah. You guys have been talking about that.
Well, is it like, Heather, is it like juggling with your business, or like with like your whole, like with like finding like time and stuff, or just like personal stuff?
Well, it's like trying to juggle business with dealing with Ben, because like February he stopped having naps.
Right.
And he's like out of control, and I don't know how to deal with it, being he's my only child, so I don't really know, like I don't have experience with other kids, right? So it's interesting, it's exhausting, it's like, I don't know.
Do you find that the issue comes with like posts, or like that kind of stuff, or like do you find like that you just can't really post and stuff because of it?
Yeah, totally. Because it's like I get caught up in like having to be a mom, right?
Yeah.
And dealing with whatever issues are going on, and then it's like, oh crap, like I haven't posted, so now it's like 8 o'clock at night, and he's finally in bed. So like, what am I gonna do? Post 6 posts all in a row? Like,
yeah, and like I'm sure Kelsey's mentioned it. She does. I know she does do it, because I'll see like at night, and I'm like, oh, she's catching up in the day, but I'm sure she's but I'm sure she's also told you about this, but like have the post ready to go on a day that seems just like being a rock star and like just so good. Just sit down and write out a bunch of different statuses and different posts and throw some pictures together or whatever it is, and then that way when those moments happen, you're like, never mind, it's all good. I got a whole list of things that I can share. But also, it's okay to share like, hey, my kid's just not having it today. I'll be back to work tomorrow. Who was it? Sarah Carr. I think Sarah Carr made a post on that day like, I went to go sit down to work, but Sissy's having an issue and doesn't want me to work, so I'll be back to work tomorrow. And I mean, of course, she's at a different point in her business where that's kind of more okay, but it's okay to share those things, because the people who are watching your page will be like, I feel you on the naps. I get it. So it's okay. Like, so I'm sure Kelsey has her own advice and stuff where you guys have talked about it, but like having those posts and being prepared ahead of time is a huge help for those days that you just can't get to it. And if it is messages, just get to them when you can. And if you have to send them a message quick, just copy and paste it till your messages say, I will get back to you tomorrow. I'm having a little bit of issue with naps today, and I'm just running a bit behind with this. And just copy and paste it to everybody. You got some messages, and then they at least know that you'll get back to them the next day.
okay, yeah, because I hate leaving people hanging. Like I don't want them to think I just don't care. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like that's what I would do anyways. I would, chat with them and let them know that you'll get back to their messages. But
I was gonna say, like when you're getting posts ready, like I have Google Docs. Can you put pictures in there too?
Yeah, like if you're on your phone, if that's what you're doing, you just have to kind of like double click on it, and then it says insert, and then insert photo. The only issue is I can't seem to save them off there, but at least if you know what post is meant to be for that day and you have it in your phone, you're good to go.
Yeah, instead of like, it's more like, you know, if you try to make it up on the fly, they end up sucking.
And then you're already exhausted and annoyed, so the pose that you're thinking of probably isn't like, come to my task because I had an awesome day today. You're probably like, oh my gosh,
Exactly. Fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly.
And you know what I've seen other coaches do? Like, she literally was like MIA for a week because her little guy was super sick. And she literally every day was like, took a picture of him sleeping in her arms. She's like, this is the only way he's like not like a gong show. So she's like, I can't really message or anything today. This is where I'm at. Mama duty comes first, but I love helping all of you. I'll get to you. I've also seen moms do like posts where, and anyone really, because I've done this too, post like hours. So like when I was teaching, I literally could not be on my phone from 8 until 3:30. So I actually posted and said like, hey, like every evening for an hour I get back to people, or like if I'm available between 7 and 8 if you have messages. Or sometimes you'll see me post like, hey, just out doing this, I will get to your messages, I do see it. So you'll see coaches do that, like acknowledge that you see them, and then that way, like if you don't answer for 24 hours, you don't answer for 24 hours, right? So that's what I see people do. I personally, and I know Bonnie Engel does this, is posts that really went over really well in the past, I just copy and paste and put them into my Google Docs, and I reuse my posts all the time. And Bonnie does. Like, Bonnie does so much so that, like, as a coach that stalks her, I know that she uses, like, it's like, oh, you used that post like 5 days ago. So, yeah, lots of coaches do that. So having those things on hand. Yeah. So, right, like you're always looking for new eyes, right? So it's okay if you're posting the same things. That's what I would do. I would even say like, hey, like, I know, who was it? And Mom the other day said like, I got up this morning for my half hour before my kid wakes up, and he got up early, so I'm not going to be doing what I normally do. So if you don't hear from me until later, it's because I'm out being a mom. And then they're like, this is why I love my job and the flexible hours, and I make my rules. And that's what, that's what she posted. I'm like, heck yes, that's exactly why I want to do this. So finding that balance. I know if you go onto Laura Mendenhall's Facebook, she made a post today that was really good. It was really eye-catching. But her guy's really bad apparently, or something, or has tantrums, or doesn't like being away from home. I'm not really sure. She didn't really allude to exactly what was going on, but she made him sound like he was a handful. And he didn't last at school longer than 10:30. So he was home with her and was being needy. So she was like, I'm out for today, basically. So she made a really good post. And she was speaking to moms that are going through the same thing with little kids, right? So it's just making those connections with people and showing like, hey, like she is a kid that's like, that needs her right now, and she's still able to build a successful business. So it makes it so other moms can say, hey, like, you know what, some days I'm going to have to unplug because of my kids, but I can do this too. So yeah, I don't know if that helps. Anyways.
No, it totally helps. It's like just getting ideas from different people, because like when I started back in November, right, it was different. I had that 2 hours chunk during the day that I could sit down and do business stuff, and now it's like just trying to rework stuff and figure out, how to change it, how to make it work with him being a whole day, and he's super high energy and high needy.
Yeah. I know some moms, I've seen them where they include their kids in their work. So, if they're doing videos and stuff to engage with people, they actually get their kids to do it, and they videotape their kids, or they do it with their kids and set it up. And then they use their kids' energy as part of their business, if that makes sense. Or they like get their kids to like take pictures, and then they post like, they'll put like photo credit. Like Lindsay Stay does this all the time, I'm sure, just to amuse her little guy. But she says like, oh, like today's Shaco is presented to you or brought to you by Soren the Duder, and that's what she calls him. But that's her way of engaging him, right? Because otherwise, if she was always like taking pictures and doing things, he would be like, well, I want mom's attention. So instead, she gives him the attention by him really running her business, which is awesome. So that's another way I've seen a couple coaches do.
Really good idea.
Yeah. right? Because you're showing that you can do it with him. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? No, Carly's just like smirking over there. Okay. Well, if you have any hurdles, you can share with us in the group or message me or Autumn, and we will help you out, and we'll be there for you, and we got your back. Today's assignment was to go back into something that you've done, whether it's posting or anything, even this, what you're talking about, Heather, and just writing out tips like that you've learned or heard from here, or learned by looking at your own stuff, or from a video. Like, search up your hurdles. I bet if you search that into YouTube, Heather, there'd probably be stuff guaranteed from Laura Mendenhall. She loves talking about how she incorporates her family. Melanie Mitro talks a lot in her videos about how she schedules her business around her kids too. So making tips for your team is really helpful as well. Because guaranteed, Heather, if you're a mom, you're going to attract moms, and then this question is going to come up from them as well to you eventually. And if you have something prepared of what you learned or what you did and what your struggles were, it'll help them. Anyways, anything else?
Totally, like when I add friends, that's what I look for.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. The call went really late, but it was good. Awesome.
Thanks for joining, everybody. The link, the recording now will be up because we streamed it through YouTube. So you still got that. You don't have to wait.
Yeah. Cool.
I guess that's it. All right.
Okay.
Have a good night, ladies, and thanks so much.
All right. Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.